Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today. And today we're going to be talking about the New York Knicks potentially hiring Chris Finch. It has been reported by Bleacher Report and other sources that Chris Finch, Minnesota Timberwolves head coach, is on the radar of the New York Knicks. Finch has been their coach for 4 full seasons, 1 half season. The team has gone 209 and 160 in those 4.5 seasons. If you don't include the 2020-21 season where he took over halfway through the season, the team has gone a total of 197. I think that's right. Yeah. I think. No, sorry, 190. It's 193 and 135. The team has gone 193 and 135. The team has gone. If you do not include the 16 and 25 record in the 2020-21 season, they've gone over 41 wins in the last 4 seasons. 46 and 36 in the 2021-22 season. 2022-23 season was 42 and 40. 56 and 26 being the 2 seed last year. In 2000, or you know what? I might be wrong. They might have been the 3 seed last year. I think they were the 3 seed last year. They were like OKC, Denver, and Minnesota last season were like all 1 game apart last 2 days of the season. And Minnesota could have got the 1 seed, could have got the 2 seed, but Minnesota fell to the 3 seed. But they obviously ended up getting to the conference finals in the 2023-24 season. And then this year with Finch, they, went 49 and 33, even though they were a 6 seed. They still managed to get to, they still managed to get to the, get to the conference finals again, beating the Lakers and the Warriors. So that was interesting. And so 2 conference finals shirts in the last 2 years. And then, another thing you look at is Finch has taken them to the playoffs in all 4 full seasons that he's been there. Don't include the season where he took over in the 2020-21 season. Sure, they went two first round exits in the 21-22 season, the 22-23 season, 2021-22 season they lost in 6 games to the Grizzlies, and then 2022-23 season they lost in 5 games to Denver, but then the last year you start to see more playoff success for Finch with this Minnesota team last year sweeping Phoenix in the first round, beating the champion Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Obviously, then they had a struggle in the conference finals against Dallas, and then like I talked about this year, beating the Lakers and Warriors, and then obviously losing in 5 games to the Thunder. Look, we're gonna talk about the potential of Finch going to New York because if they were to request to speak to him and have an interview with them, that request goes to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they decide if they're going to decline or accept that request. Now, honestly, I saw the same thing happen with the Rockets with Ime Udoka and this Knicks team. The Rockets declined the request. That was no shock to me as a Rockets fan. But then I saw what happened with the Dallas Mavericks and Jason Kidd. The Mavericks accepted the request and are letting Jason Kidd speak to the Knicks. So before that, I would have told you, no way, the Timberwolves, let Finch speak to the Knicks. But then I've seen the Mavs let Jason Kidd speak. And look, that could just be because Nico Harrison is a dubby. We saw what he did with Luka. So, but just to me, I don't think letting your head coach speak to another team like the New York Knicks is a good idea. Especially with Kidd's history with Jalen Brunson, coaching him for 1 season. Not only that, but playing for the New York Knicks in his career, just not a good idea. Especially with the great job Jason Kidd has done in his Mavs tenure. Unless, Nico Harrison has some great idea of replacing him. So, but I don't know if Minnesota lets Finch speak to New York. I think Anthony Edwards has a big play into that. Because if Edwards likes Finch, if he really loves Chris Finch, if the guys around in the locker room really love Chris Finch, they're not going to let him go. They're not going to let him even speak to the Knicks. But let's not ignore the connections he has with this Knicks team. The only connection some people might only know is the Karl-Anthony Towns connection. Obviously, he coached him in Minnesota. And there's a great relationship there. There's respect between Cat and Finch. Finch has said nothing but good things about Cat, and Cat, same thing with Finch. That's one relationship. But there are actually three other relationships that Finch has created in the NBA in his coaching career with three other New York Knicks players. Finch was an assistant coach for the Toronto Raptors in the 2020-21 season when two Raptors players were still on the team that got traded to the Knicks last year. OG Anunoby, a starter, and Precious Achiuwa, one of their bench players. Then, 2019-20 season, he was with the New Orleans Pelicans for 3 seasons as an assistant coach. And who was in New Orleans his last year in New Orleans, a starter, Josh Hart. So, look, there are some trade rumors. We know there have been trade rumors, Josh Hart, and OG, and potentially Cat. It seems like everybody potentially could get traded right now for the Knicks besides Jalen Brunson. I'm not saying they're going to get rid of everybody, but it seems like maybe the only untouchable guy on the team could be Jalen Brunson. But he has, like I said, he has connections with guys on this team, not just Cat, but OG, Achiuwa, and Hart. And so that would be interesting. I think we'll see what happens. I think it all starts with what Minnesota does Minnesota let him speak to New York? Because there might be a good chance he could take that job. It's a bigger market. I know it's crazy to say it, but it is a bigger Minnesota. Minnesota's been in the conference finals the last 2 years, yes, but New York is a bigger market. There's more lights on you. There's more attention on you, which could be a good or a bad thing. But in my opinion, it's a more talented team. So disrespect to Minnesota, they're a good team. They've been in the conference finals the last 2 years. But this New York team is more talented than Minnesota is, in my opinion. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.